brought to you in part by the Balanced Palate. AFIA Sports Training, committed to developing the sporting potential of future players in the U.S., UK, and across the world. And the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street. Hey everybody, welcome back to Rugby Wrap-Up. Matt McCarthy at the Fantasy Sports Network, Studio 34 in New York City, talking rugby. And we're going to Romania to talk rugby, and we're going to talk rugby with Team USA's head coach, Gary Gold, who has really gone out of his way to accommodate us with the limited Wi-Fi over there in the lobby of the hotel. And they're just in town, so be patient with the feed, ladies and gentlemen. It might drop off, but Gary's game, so are we. With that, Gary, welcome to our show from Romania.
Thanks, Matt. Good to be here.
Okay, so, Coach, first order of business. I am eating an enormous plate of crow, and happily so because of Team USA beating Samoa. I did pick Samoa, as did some of the other pundits on this show, as did most people out there in the Twitter sphere, or whatever you want to call it. But I am very happily eating all this crow and happy to be wrong.
I'm happy you're wrong as well.
All right, so, Coach, this is just an average run for you guys. 9 matches in a row, 9 test matches in a row without a loss, including wins over Samoa and Scotland by the identical scores of 30-29, nail-biters, to say the least. And although people will say, well, you lost to the Maori All Blacks, as Dolan Stanford has pointed out, that was not a test match, so it doesn't count. It's almost as though it didn't exist. But for our purposes here, you are on a 9-game tear. And if I'm not mistaken, you're looking to not have a 39-29 repeat.
Yeah, it was the same score. They were both the same scores, yeah. Coincidental as that is. I'm not sure there's too much to read into that, but yeah, it's been a good run. We've had our fair bit of luck as well. We must appreciate that and stay grounded because of that. And I think there were patches where we played really poorly. Saying that, I think there were patches where we played really well. When we started, I thought if we'd scored again, we may have put them to bed. But, a little bit of bad luck and a bad bounce of the ball and a couple of defensive errors. And, that's how quickly Test match rugby changes. So they got straight back into the game, and then we had to claw our way out. And, again, fantastic to have Will kick that kick, at the death. And if we hadn't kicked it, we would have been licking our wounds and saying ifs and whats. And I think that's just important that we...
Okay, yeah, you froze there a bit, Coach, but we get the gist. Back to the match. At about the 22-minute mark, you guys are up 15-0. You're driving. You've got a driving maul. You're about to go in, and you turn the ball over. Is it an experience thing about not being able to go for the jugular or have that knockout punch?
The more you learn how to win, the more you learn how to take advantage of a situation where you are 15-0 up, keep the momentum going, keep your foot on their throat. You realize quickly that a game can get away from opposition, whereas from a turnover and we make one error, all of a sudden we under our own poles and it's 15-7 and it's game on for them in confidence. So that's part of the learning curve, as is grinding it out until the 80th minute of a test match is also a learning curve. And I will get it wrong at times. There's no doubt about that, Matt. I mean, we got quite a bit wrong on the weekend, but I'm just hoping that every experience that we do go through is just another learning curve for this group, that we hopefully building more and more momentum together as a group as time goes on.
It was a great cutting of the teeth, if you will, for your young scrum half, the 19-year-old Ruben Haas, though.
Yeah, if you have a look at the experience of the team, obviously losing Blaine halfway through the game was a blow to lose your captain. I mean, he's such a talisman leader. Having Ruben starting at 9, Will had played at 15 for us previously, but hadn't started at 10 before. David Anu coming off the bench, he's 19 years old, getting some test match experience. So the great thing is that we're starting to get a bit of strength and depth in key positions. Dylan Fawcett obviously started the week before. He's now on the bench because Joe came in, and Greg Pedersen got a start for us, which hasn't happened for a while, and I thought he was absolutely fantastic. So, and again, because of a late injury to John Quill, Hanco got a start. So Hanco's 21 as well, and so this is the makings of a very, very good squad in the next, certainly in France. So we're starting to get some strength and depth in key positions, and that's really, really important. So if an AJ does go down, we've got a Will Maggie and a Will Hooley who we've got to rely on at that level, and that's all part of the process that we're trying to establish.
And another encouraging aspect of this match was the fact that you guys had multiple opportunities to fold up the tents and pack it in. Scully, your captain, goes down. Samoa immediately scores as soon as he goes out on the very next play after having already scored. Multiple opportunities to pack it in, and you didn't. There was no quit.
Yeah. I think Matty right there is the most pleasing aspect of it. Even more pleasing than the fact that we got the result, because I think it's really important, as I said earlier, that we stay grounded, but we're also honest with the fact that certain things didn't go well. And I agree with you. I think potentially previously, we played really well for the first 20-25 minutes. Things don't go away, and there's a tendency to maybe go, well, it was a tough day at the office and roll over. And to a man, we didn't do that. We continued to defend. We fought hard, in the collisions, and they were big collisions. I mean, this is a very, very physical team, the Samoan team. Don't underestimate how physical they are. And they were desperate, They've got a new coaching staff. They put a lot of processes in place. They were together for 2 weeks. So they came into this game very well prepared. So it was a real tough task for us. And, just very proud of the guys for the resilience that they showed to stay in the fight. And, again, lucky to come out with a result, but really happy that we're going toe-to-toe with opposition to this quality.
Coach, I'm hearing sirens in the background. Is that the San Sebastian police finally catching up with Cam Dolan for those thefts, those steals of those 2 tries?
Yeah. Well, we had to get him out of Spain quickly, because there was a bit of daylight robbery going on there. So
he's got that enormous wingspan and those paws of glue.
Yeah, no, he's fast as well, So when you get the interception, he's got the ability to turn on the burner. So I'm overstressing the fact that we had a bit of luck, but I'm also hoping that we starting to learn that we're acquiring a pressure game that puts people under pressure, that forces them to throw the passes that they shouldn't pass. Very much like ourselves the week before against the Maoris, we found ourselves substantially behind on the scoreboard and we forced the game, and from what was potentially a try scoring opportunity, they ran the length of the field to score an interception. So that's part of the pressure, that's part of understanding how to win the momentum game as well, and force people into making those decisions. And I think particularly the second try of Cam's was really a situation where Samoa were playing out of their own half. They were under a little bit of pressure. It was a tight game, and they were really trying to force something they shouldn't have formed. And it ended up hurting them because we had enough numbers in line, and it was a good decision by Cam. So, he's talented like that. I mean, if he gets the interception, he can be gone.
Okay, so with Ireland looming, is there a worry that some of the guys will be looking past the Romanians and just thinking about playing against the Irish?
Of course there is, and there's a fear of complacency, which is hopefully something we've nipped in the bud. I mean, we're on the brink of having a fantastic year for US. We comes away from having an unprecedented run of success, and that's something that's now started to creep into this team that's important. We've got aspirations that we want to climb the world rugby ladder, and by the time we get to Rugby World Cup next year, we want to be more competitive than we are at the moment now, so we can go and put up our hand in a particularly tough pool, but actually come out with credibility. So the only way we're going to do that is having to endure these tough weeks away from home, and it's a tough week here. I mean, Romania is not the most friendliest place to opposition teams, and they're a big old gnarly pack. I mean, they played really well against Portugal on the weekend. They beat them substantially. They've got a very physical pack. They've got a fantastic 12 who who sets targets and runs up all day long for them. So, and they're going to have quite a volatile crowd against us. So it's going to be a great test. And we've spoken about this tour being a dress rehearsal for next year's Rugby World Cup, and we need all the adversity we can get. I'd prefer not to lose too many more players to injury, but I would, I don't mind the adversity coming in the fact that it's going to be a hostile crowd and a very physical pack, and it's going to be the third week in a row where we've got a massively physical encounter. So I think we can only really grow from this. We are definitely going to learn lessons. We're learning lessons the whole time, but our challenge now is put complacency on the back burner and realize that we're in a tough country and a country that have got a decent rugby history. They've been to a couple of Rugby World Cups before, and they've always been renowned for their big heavy packs. And we've got some work to do on Saturday afternoon.
Okay, so changing gears a little bit. One thing that is great to be a part of as a fan is the emergence of players and the making of stars. Like Joe Taufete'e is becoming a rock star on the pitch, and despite the fact that he is arguably one of your most entertaining players to watch, he is still one of the best human beings on the planet off the pitch. And then, in that circle where you had the guys all hugging Will Hooley after he made the kick. And by the way, when he made that kick, the people that were watching on TV at home, the feed had like 5 minutes left on the game clock, and the announcers I was listening to from the Samoan feed had no idea that the game was over, and they were like breaking his chops saying, oh, he's happy about that kick. Like it was just an average penalty kick, and he still had 5 minutes left in the game. They didn't know that he won the game on that kick. But anyway, had that circle of players there, and I'm noticing, Scully's there with his cap on because he's got the injury. But you've got other guys. You've got Eric Fry, and you mentioned Greg Peterson earlier. You've got a great mix of youth and experience here, and it's exciting to watch.
It's a great combination, and it's a critical combination. I mean, it was, I think, for a period of time, if we're honest with ourselves, you could see that when Scully did go off, we were a little bit rabbits in the headlights a little bit, and we were looking over our shoulder for the next person to step up to the plate, and that other guys throughout the spine of the team and the other senior players, not even necessarily senior players, just guys who have got the confidence to take, the game by the scruff of the neck and say, well, Blaine's temporarily off, or he's off for the rest of the game. This is what we're going to do. This is what our plan is. And I suppose that's very largely, our decision, our responsibility as a coaching staff is that we have to equip these players with as much clarity as possible so that when these tough times do come, that it'll be a lot easier for them to make those decisions because, our plan is clear and, our process is very well thought through. And I think that's probably something that rocked us a little bit this week, and something that we're going to put a lot of time and energy into this week of training is what are our processes exactly? How clear are we in terms of knowing what we want to do, and not leaving too much up to decision making or allowing things to get frenetic when things don't go away, like losing our captain.
Well, I got to say, this is a very entertaining team, and I know that as a coach you could probably do without the frenetic finishes and some of the plays that happen during the course of the growing pains that are taking place. But from a fan standpoint, from an Eagles fan standpoint, this is an exciting time. And this team, with no quit in them, is certainly fun to watch. And you, sir, are front and center in it.
No, thanks, Matt. Yeah, no, it's a really fun time to be involved with this group of players. The energy and enthusiasm is fantastic. The real deal we've made at the moment now is that we're never not going to give 100% of ourselves for 100% of the time that we're on the field. And if we can continue to do that, the results will go in our favor.
Okay, we'll end there. I know that you're busy and appreciate your time. You've got a lot of moving parts over there in Romania. And I just want to say that, again, I am more than happy to be eating this plate of crow all week long and hope to not ever do that again because I'm never going to pick against the USA again. And I hope to see you in Ireland for the big upset of the Irish.
Thanks so much, mate. Nice to chat to you. Take it easy.
All right, and we're getting the high sign that we are indeed out of time. So on behalf of Coach Gary Gold of Team USA, Matt McCarthy at the Fantasy Sports Network for Rugby Wrap-Up in New York City, signing off.